haven't been.
Great, thanks, Jesse. All right, we have two meetings tonight, a public hearing and then the business meeting. And before we start those, we'll do the pledge to the flag, which is right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, welcome everybody, and I will now open the public hearing on the Caroline Agriculture and Farmland Protection Plan. And I guess, would you like to say a few words,
Yeah,
Monica? And if you
want me to stand up?
are you okay? Yeah, and if you want to stand like over here and kind of
Okay.
face that way, then people in Zoom land will see you. If,
Sorry, I'm
Yes.
standing in front of you.
So we have the clerk in Zoom land and that's it right now?
I believe so.
Okay.
Or no, there's somebody else. Let's see.
Okay.
No, it's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, so thanks, Monica, welcome and
Great.
take it away.
Yes, I'm happy to be here to just share our agriculture and farmland protection plan that we've been working on for the town of Caroline for the past 2 years. And the plan is substantially completed. Tonight's hearing obviously is to hear from the public if there are any comments they have. These will all be included as either part of our appendix, but we want to keep a record of what comments are. And we do have the opportunity still to tweak the document as well. So yeah, so we've had I think a decent outreach process throughout the plan development. We had a survey, we did interviews, we had a public, meeting with farmers early in the process. We synthesized that, pushed around all the content that we got and put it into some action steps or outcomes that we want to see based on what people were saying in their comments, and then formulated sort of an action plan for the next year. And that is for the Agriculture Committee to use as a roadmap for moving forward with some of the ideas. And in fact, the committee's already moved on some of these ideas by having a farm festival in August, and then more recently a farmer networking dinner and meeting. And, we're already planning the next one to come up. So I hope the momentum continues, and I hope people on the Ag Committee continue, and obviously we'll hopefully be recruiting some other folks to join as, those that are interested.
Great.
That's about all I have to say. I appreciate the process. I did send it, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I did send a copy of the plan to Jeff Kehoe, who's the Ag and Markets guru for municipal agriculture plans. And he did say that we met all the criteria that they're looking for in a good agriculture plan. So I think we got a grade A so far. And it will go to the County Ag and Farmland Protection Board to review in the first week of December. That's just also sort of a step in the process. They send a supporting letter that goes in the package to the state. And then obviously the state has the final review and approval. So the board reviews it, and the Ag and Farmland Board, we include a letter, and then the state is the final step to approve it. And it's actually certified by the Commissioner of Ag. So who is that commissioner now? I forgot.
Does the county or state ever provide feedback, or?
Yes.
They do, okay.
They would, yeah. So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Okay, that's about all.
Well, thank you, Monica. And I just want to acknowledge that your great help through this process. You've been a stalwart and helped really lead this effort. I really appreciate that. And
My pleasure.
I also appreciate the efforts of the pretty energetic Ag Committee.
Yeah, they kind of, we burned them out a little bit.
You what?
We burned them out a little bit. We lost a few members that haven't been seen as much recently.
Great, okay, so.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, and so I will open up, so now we'll accept any comments that people want to offer. I know we have a couple of ag committee members here, and I don't see anyone in Zoom yet, but anybody wants to speak about the plan or?
Do you want us to get up and stand over there or just talk to you?
Actually, I would say, yeah, because then people can see in Zoom. So if you would like to do that, kind of stand at an angle to Jonathan and the camera will pick you up, just like Monica. was
An
saying.
angle to Jonathan?
What's that?
Angle,
Yeah, yeah.
but now you're out of the camera.
You're on the camera, you gotta come.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
You're
Yeah,
good.
nice
You're
to see you.
nice. You're good.
All right,
You look good.
Great.
thanks. So I'm not exactly sure what role the town has with this plan, but if it accepts it, then I encourage you to accept it. But the town is referred to several times in the document, so with supporting the A plan. When Monica said that there's a good chance we'd get an A, I have to second Mark's comment that the reason we get an A is because of Monica, her long experience with agriculture in Tompkins County and with Caroline as well. So she was able to look at the data assessment and make sense of it and provide a lot of background to help fill in the gaps. So I think the strength of our plan, a lot of it comes from who we hired, and thank you, Monica, for providing that skill. So the timing of putting this ag plan together is actually pretty critical because our food system, the bigger food system is quite vulnerable. And we saw that during the COVID crisis, and there's other opportunities with flooding and droughts and so on that are starting to rear its head. So talking about growing food in town of Caroline is important. It's also important because agriculture in town of Caroline is transforming. We used to have a lot of dairies. We were growing corn and soybean commodity crops. We're not doing that anymore. We're just smaller farms that are doing, I'm working on a lot less acreage, and that's what's happening all around Tompkins County. Is not just in Caroline, but it's the transition that we're going through. And another transition we're going through is folks that were in those commodity markets now are looking to sell their land. And so there's an opportunity for smaller farmers to move into Caroline if we have a vibrant farming community, which is what the ag plan talks about. So the timing of the plan is really good, and the plan talks about having a vibrant farming community, consumers, the town residents that support that by buying food and products from the farmers. And also it talks about making, Caroline was once very proud of its farming. I think it always, it's probably in many ways still is, but this is continuing that. So we are actually proud to have the agricultural business in town. So Caroline's biggest resource it has is land. But it's not all prime farmland. However, we've been able to find, as people always did, things that they could use on land that doesn't have prime categories. So sheep, ginger, there's lots of things that can be done, mushrooms. So that, and all those things are being done in Caroline as part of our agriculture. So that's what we want to support. So I will just say that in order for this vision to be accomplished, is we have to lean into it. We being the agricultural committee, and we're trying to, but it also requires public sector support as well. So there are some things in the document that are referred to how the town can help. The ag committee will be bringing those forward, but we ask the town board to give them serious consideration and trying to support bringing this vision to fruition. It's my speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, John. You had all that on that little note card?
No, I had to fill in the gaps.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
Would anyone else like to speak?
I tried.
Well, I mean, I guess I would like to second what Don said, that, Monica was really driving expertise for us on this. and say thank you.
Cool.
And as I remember, if I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, we did get some feedback from the state that there were some things that weren't quite, so there's been a good two.
Yeah, well, I think early, you did get some feedback related to the zoning. But in this,
Right.
Okay, that was the zoning.
yeah, right. In this case, mainly we just got feedback that we did a good job. So, which is
And
okay.
also George Franz was good, help in
Yes, yeah.
making maps and, doing history of, where farms have come and gone, come back. So,
Yeah, and I have all the maps that I'll bring to the town office sometime and you can display them nicely all over the place. You know,
Oh,
the soils map, the maps that are in the plan, I have the larger copies of those.
Oh, okay.
it's quite interesting, it's almost like there's this rolling out of the ashes of past
Out of the ashes of,
Past
Past
agriculture.
agriculture.
past
oh,
agriculture,
mhm.
things have failed and kind of. And now you see new enterprises starting where things were.
That's cool. I have noticed one, and somebody told me that Monica was responsible for that, and some beautiful fields of sunflowers. Which I think are really cool, and
It's part of the
And-
And profitable,
what,
and profitable.
Oh,
That's
that's
good.
That's important.
and I have also noticed that they're tremendous, I mean, like in Yellowstone, you get moose jams and stuff like that, they cause people pull over, see 10 cars pulled over to just look at the field of
And
sunflowers.
take pictures of
In July.
themselves.
It's an ag tourism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, it's just the possibilities of a little, interaction. Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Or limitless, really.
Great,
is this a good time to make comments or should we?
that's what I was gonna ask, so I think the board has read it and has comments, would that be in the public
Well,
hearing
Monica's still here. you know,
properly?
so-
Yeah, okay,
Listen,
so,
it could be part of the notes then.
yeah, okay,
No, I'll just mention, I sent Monica an email, a week or two ago, suggesting revisions to page 11, which is the background page. That the advisory committee was formed by the town board in 2021 instead of 2022. And also I think it's in that page, it says a specific interest driving the formation of the advisory committee included input on proposed zoning. That just wasn't even on the table when we formed the ag committee at all. So I'd recommend taking that out and maybe replacing it with response to the recommendations of the revised comprehensive plan to grow an agricultural vision for the town. So if we could get that in there, I think it would just be helpful.
I think probably, Monica, the confusion came because when we first appointed people, you asked for people to join. You had one applicant.
You were the first one and
And
that was in
I stayed there
2021.
for a year.
very lonely.
And then whenever zoning came forward, then we started having more applicants.
Right.
So that's probably how long it could be.
Yeah, and I kind of took off, I mean, I became involved late in
Yes.
2022, so I got the story about what was motivating some of the farmers to
Sure.
get together. Yeah, so we can give it the real story.
And what literally happened was two farmers came to a town board meeting. This was just after the comprehensive plan, within 6 months had been approved, asking us to override the state's regulatory things for processing beef. And we said we didn't feel that we could do that. But in that meeting, we then said, since the comp plan recommends supporting agriculture, why don't we form an agricultural committee? And so it was decided at that meeting and things moved on from there.
Great,
Excellent.
that's good point.
I want to hear your comments, but I'm gonna have to take them offline. I have another appointment, so
Oh, okay,
thanks. So I just want to say it's nothing personal.
Yeah, okay, I understand. So thanks for joining
Thank you for
and
sharing.
offering your comments. So
Is that
Take my
your?
jacket with me.
I need it.
you probably don't need it, but maybe tomorrow.
Yes.
I have one very small comment, which I think there might be a typo or a word missing
Okay.
on page 29. Yeah, under the special changes for future consideration by the town, under the zoning thing. Development standards that relate to slopes should be exempt agricultural practices. Is there a word missing in there? Should be exempt for agricultural practices or?
Yeah, that's the George France section. I have to ask George about that.
Okay.
And I'll get him to give me the information so we can
Sure.
clarify it. Yeah,
Page 1, page 29.
yeah,
The second line from the bottom.
it's not exactly a complete sentence.
Something's missing.
Something's missing, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
feel like I need to sit down and like talk to somebody about this a lot. I have a lot of questions, but
Are you done, Michelle?
I'm
I'm
done.
sorry,
Okay.
I'm sorry. It was
Go ahead.
like,
Go ahead, Kate.
but that line, the development standards that relate to slopes should be exempt for, or, I don't know, agricultural practices.
Could be,
I'm not sure which standards and agricultural practices. I'm kind of like, what,
Okay,
I mean, what
Yeah.
practices? Are we talking about plowing? Are we talking about building a barn? I mean, are we talking about grazing? I
and,
just don't know
right,
exactly what this is
Okay, I
referring to,
think-
which practice.
You know, we-
Good
what-
clarification.
Yeah.
I think that would be good clarification.
yeah, we did, what we did was, again, not to make it an 80-page document,
Right.
we kept cutting some things
Yeah.
and synthesizing some things. I think maybe that was just synthesized a bit too much. I bet it's in George's full.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
we're putting in the appendix, we'll have the full, written section. George wrote a lot more than
Yeah.
what is synthesized here.
But I think the development standards only refer to buildings,
Mm.
like they don't.
Yeah.
refer
That's what I
to,
would think.
And non-agricultural buildings.
right,
That's what I thought too. I thought
Yeah.
agricultural buildings were already.
So-
it's
exempt.
actually like commercial,
Yeah.
like that.
right, so relevant.
Okay.
Yeah, so that didn't make sense to me, and I think, you can check it, but I think the commercial horse boarding operations, I think, was added.
Yeah, I checked it, it is.
Yeah.
It is, so this section actually is inaccurate,
Yeah,
but
that's
I
right.
didn't. So you might wanna.
Yeah.
Read.
Yeah, I'll check with George.
Yes.
He was, he started off working with an earlier
Yes.
version
He did.
and then
Oh, that's
it
right.
got changed and
Yeah,
it might have been
right.
something.
I remember that.
That's what I suspect, so I didn't spend a lot of time, but most of this, I think, is kind of inaccurate and not, but also. It doesn't really affect the outcome of your.
The second bullet, since you're on that section, says farm stand, change the language, remove the temporary use from the definition.
Mhm.
Semicolon, a temporary seasonal structure should be a permitted use. So those don't flow together,
Yeah.
those contradict one another. It does state a temporary use is a permitted use in all districts, I think, so.
All right, I think it's better if I go back to his original language and see what's there.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he could have been working from the wrong.
Yeah,
You
I
might
know.
not, you might not have followed, we made a lot of revisions the time. The year after. Subsequent
did,
to the
yeah.
zoning commission, so chances are he just didn't know.
Yeah, I think we might have been, either he was or I was, or somebody was working from an older version, I think. Although I know in the final summary that he did fix that for sure to reflect that. So it just could be that this excerpt summary of his comments is a little too brief or was based on the older version. Okay, great, thank you. That's an important change to make.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you an email with
Okay.
some other things, but one thing I want to say was, it just said, the zoning law, let me think. Let's see,
Are you on the same page?
I'm on the same page on 29, with the exception of minor issues, the regulations in the town of Caroline zoning law as it relates to agriculture did not appear to be overly burdensome, which I'm glad about. I hoped and still hope that the Caroline zoning law will actually be very supportive
Mhm.
of agriculture.
Mhm.
And one thing I'm curious about is what you feel is, your committee would feel is important to retain in the zoning law, right?
Mhm.
Or to strengthen. There were some places where I personally felt we could have been more supportive of ag. And so I'd love to see that. I mean, I know you gave us some specifics
is.
here.
So
but yeah,
some
but-
examples
but-
maybe.
And
of-
examples or like, you know, how we had that average of 3 acres, right? If we're going to subdivide, should it be, should it be, you know, how does, is that an important
Mhm.
question about how the land gets divided up? How can we support people who want to farm and the people who want to sell their property? So I
Right.
mean, that's hard balance, but I really wanted to support the farmers and
Mhm.
the families who farm, so.
Okay. And we'll bring this back to George for that. Hey,
A question, at our, farmer networking meeting, there was an interesting interchange with a bunch of folks about the solar law. Or solar in general, and then the solar law and then discussion, and then we have a piece in there about solar.
Mhm.
I don't remember any meetings we necessarily had about thinking about agrivoltaics, but. And I don't remember.
It's mentioned in here.
I know,
Yeah.
what does it say about updating the law? Don't we have a ordinance or a law in town for solar?
The law.
The law,
Mhm.
so adjusting that law or upgrading that law or changing that law.
to include.
To be more farm thoughtful. If you will.
Yeah.
And I think there's lots of ways to look at that, but I don't remember what that solar section said about. Does it say anything about upgrading
I
or
think
changing
that
the law?
comment that I vaguely remember from the meeting is sort of the idea of you have a solar law, but kind of somehow encourage agrivoltaics as part of that. And
Right.
so,
I agree. I did see the section in here on agrivoltaics. I assumed it was promoting that, and that's something
it's
that,
on page 26, just.
yeah.
But does it actually say we need to improve or change or adjust the town's law to actually?
I can't remember if the
Direct.
law says anything about that specifically, but I know that that was always the intent.
Well, agrivoltaics is very specific
Yeah.
Mhm.
in that it encourages co-business
Agriculture,
development,
right.
Yeah.
like the solar development and
Right.
the agribusiness development
I agree.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, we do on page 26 and 27, that's addressed and it's,
Yeah, I'm not seeing any specific thing where it says we encourage the solar law to be revised to do what Jonathan said, which I totally would be on board with.
So maybe it's just up to, as a committee to bring that up.
So you'd have to address the planning board with that. right?
That's what I suggested at the meeting, yeah, connecting with Bill.
Yeah, because.
I think he'd jump all over it. Well, I think he should.
I might
It might be in
by
there
now.
already, I just can't remember.
I mean, they have just recently updated that, I think, so,
Yeah, they wrote the first one.
They wrote it, yeah.
so, but I think that,
Good, yeah, we
I
should.
mean,
check.
I'm just thinking holistically, like
Sure.
if we want to attract up and coming new farmers, it's an opportunity. There's going to be more solar development,
Mhm.
but I think they're kind of the young folks see it as an opportunity because it's
Mhm.
potentially could be a cheaper land ag system than typical.
Right.
Because you're layering it, and so there's already infrastructure, and so anyway. And someone mentioned like requiring the water.
oh yeah, that the solar company, you could put that in order to get a permit, they have to also install water
Oh, well.
to accommodate animals for agro, you know.
Well, anyway,
Or,
I think
That's the
there's,
ag committee conversation, maybe.
Yeah,
there's
and
a lot of support for that. I don't think there'd be any resistance at all, but,
but I think you do have to go to the planning board, right?
well, yeah, I mean, the planning board works for us, so we can ask them to do that.
Yeah.
But it might be nice as a committee to come up with some language or some thoughtful, so we don't have to come like, it's not just some gray area, like, hey, planning board, you should do this.
Right,
Besides, if it's just, you know, a minor tweak to the solar law, I don't see any reason why the ag committee couldn't propose that directly to the town board.
right.
You know, that's not gonna impact the solar law. So I would, you know, we could easily then float it to the planning board, but
Oh, right. So,
I'd rather see us just get this done.
Okay.
And I know again, because this was taken with input from Caleb Scott, you know, and he does these
Yeah.
agrivoltaic installations all over the, not installations, but, you know, coordinates the agricultural part of the,
I thought he just raised sheep. Does he do some-
Well,
He
I-
contracts out the sheep,
He leases them out.
solar installations
Right, yeah.
to do the grazing and.
Right, that's what I thought,
Ground
that's it, right?
yeah, but he also has, and he wrote up some stuff for us, and again, you know, that's the trouble when you take somebody else's work and try to, and he has you know, he has seen a lot of installations that they use, you know, that where they grow all kinds of things, and so
right,
it might be
But he
good
knows.
if he gave a talk sometime, you know, start with the ag committee and open it to the public and
absolutely.
kind
That'd
of,
be awesome.
With
so
the
people kind of,
wellness recommendation, just so that the easy source of water, so it just makes grazing easier.
yeah,
Just,
It's a really good idea.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think that's
Too bad
an
it's not
actionable
not
thing.
already in there. We could
Right.
let them do it.
definitely.
yeah.
There is like, you know, I think Anna Kellis got money for this agrivoltaic research thing at Cornell that started this year. So is anybody following that or anything, Cal, or no? Anyway,
I think we could ask them,
yeah,
the solar farm, to do that, just as a,
Well,
as a gesture.
the stuff I've read about them is
You know.
that
You can't
It-
make them do it.
it impacts how high
mhm,
the panels
yeah,
are.
be structurally.
Yeah, so it may cost them more to do that,
Mhm.
so.
There's
So-
some flexibility, it really depends on the agricultural practice
Right,
that,
yeah.
and how that, but there's also, NYSERDA has a new solar grant for agrivoltaics, and I just applied,
Oh, really?
because of our 1 acre solar system, through CCE.
Okay.
And,
Oh, is that Guillermo?
yeah, Guillermo has money to help farmers develop a grant proposal. And it actually is nice in that you can actually, as, it helps, if a new development's going in, it helps the development become more agriculturally oriented.
Yeah, that's great.
So I don't know if this one, it's not being built next year. So if it does get built, the one here in town, the big one, in 2026, they might be able to apply to that NYSERDA grant to help make it more agricultural. So they don't have a cost, but maybe they could get the grant to help pay the extra it would take to raise them up or,
Mhm. I think they're hoping to start in 2025.
oh, really? Okay.
Construction. That's what I think.
I missed the meeting because I.
But I know that they've spoken about their interest in accommodating that. So it's on their minds. I don't know.
Yeah, they know a lot about it. so.
Oh, that's good. Interesting. So cool. It sounds like that's something that, you know, could be another one of those action items that we do,
Right.
little education
Yeah.
and we can get Guillermo to talk about the funding, like incentivize some people. If they learned about it. So, good.
Yeah, I have, I also, and I can just send you some notes, maybe would be easier, but, it's on page 26, but it's not. I think we were on it.
29 with the zoning.
29, right on.
Yeah, so I know it's like the. There are just some tweaks in that opening paragraph, so the site plan law is now. We don't have a separate site plan law, it's part of the zoning. Our subdivision law was, it was just recently adopted, but that would be a nice update to make it current. So I could just send some notes about that. And then,
Is there this Caroline subdivision review law? Is that different?
that's the one we just adopted this fall. We revised it and adopted it this fall. And it's substantially different than the previous one, so it would be good to cite it. Yeah. And the zoning analysis conclusion, I would have hoped that the first sentence would recognize that the zoning is protective of agriculture. I think Nan sent a fairly substantial memo about that to the Ag Committee at some point. And I agree with Kate that that's my hope, at least, that I would think it is. And then
Who's Nan?
She was-
Nan Stolzenberg, our zoning planner.
She was the consultant.
But it said she wrote a memo that was ag friendly,
Yeah.
saying, so why don't we put that in there in the appendix?
That'd be great.
That'd be great.
I think it's a great idea.
Okay, that'd be a good idea. So you can send me a copy of that memo or something.
Okay. Great.
Yeah, I think with this section, we may have just cut it down a little bit
Okay.
too much, so I have to go back and look at George's full text and see what. But it does sound like he hadn't, updated some of these recent changes anyhow.
And the other thing is something that, this is a bigger topic, but I think I've heard Cal state this, and what's really clear to me is that farmers are really at the center, they have a key responsibility as land stewards. And so I think, I think that's really wonderful, and they do a great job, and I think it's good to recognize the importance of regulations that promote soil conservation and water retention and things like that. So anyway, those are my few sort of higher level comments, but I can email you my notes from their editorial, really, those other ones that I mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I had a question about if we're going down to small farms where people are kind of doing, I mean, they already do this, they have a job outside the farm, and then they've got the farm, but they don't quite have that $10,000 coming in,
Mhm.
so they're not,
Yeah.
right, I
Can't
mean,
get the ag assessment.
that's a state, isn't it? Just that $10,000.
Does the state, what?
There's a state law about that
Yeah,
$10,000
yeah.
income.
See,
I mean, I suppose that's a good thing about inflation is the $10,000 isn't as much as it was a few years ago. But, I know that's hard to get if you've just got,
Yeah.
if it's a tiny
Yeah.
plot and you're just doing a couple things and that's what our farms are becoming, then that needs to shift somehow, maybe at the state level, but. I don't know
Yeah,
if we
it
could
would
do-
probably have to be, state legislation, ag district law change.
Yeah,
But somewhere I thought we did maybe mention that. Ag district law, I was thinking we had said something. That to that, I think, well, maybe it's in one of the recommendations that it's.
yeah, that's, I should. Oh.
Mm.
Good enough, too.
Well, I just have but I think in the more detailed recommendations, that was something that we had suggested, the only thing you could probably do is just through Farm Bureau or somebody lobby the state, to make a change in the ag district law. That would probably be the approach. That's in the recommendation.
I did notice there are some things that the town can do that are and especially the EDR priority areas and setting aside money to
Yeah, those recommendations.
support that for the local share. I mean, I
And-
think that'd be great.
George did a whole kind of calculation
Yeah,
of what it would cost.
The one in
Yeah.
here, yeah.
Yeah, and there, again, there's much more text to that, and he'd be very happy to give a talk.
To explain it, yeah, that might be good.
Could go into more detail on.
I thought we kind of just passed over, because I felt we kind of passed over because we thought it was beyond the means of the town, because it takes a significant financial contribution. And we just don't have the tax base to support it.
Well, I
At
noticed
this point.
for this initiative, for the local share, George calculated it would be $40,500 per year.
Over 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think we could do,
Potentially doable.
we could do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we set aside that for the town hall every year,
$40,000.
35 or 30, something on that magnitude, though.
This has helped conserve land in the town.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so that you could provide, and that really is just to provide the match. So the farmer normally forfeits the full value of the development rights. And so, and that's, I mean, they've changed it now, so it's only, the match is only 12.5%. Used to be 25% match required, so the farmers would lose, quite a bit if they didn't get that full value of their development rights. And there are also there's a federal farmland protection program that's much more complicated, and people also put those two together, the state program and the federal program. But, if there's a town, if the town can support that difference, which in this case now it's only 12.5%, which, this is the calculation, if you protected all those acres in the
Right.
development
Right.
area, and that, you don't necessarily have to,
You're not gonna do that, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it, farm by farm, you don't have to do it specific to a development area, but say a farm wants to apply for farmland protection. And then, again, just, you do all the calculations, you have, what do you call it? Well, not a survey, but appraisal.
Oh,
You
right.
get the appraisal done, and so say it's 2 million and you just have to take off 12.5%. And so in this way, if the town pays the difference, then the farmer gets the full value. It may just provide an additional incentive.
Yeah,
So I think, where there are
Even
incentives.
Splitting the difference, if that would help, I mean, if we could do things
Yeah,
so that we could do them, I think we should look into it.
Yeah.
Whatever it means, yeah.
What's the minimum land that can be protected? Is it like 100 acres or is it like 50 acres?
there's no minimum, but, there are a bunch of criteria, so it's.
and it's competitive then.
Yeah, it is competitive, and so the way in Tompkins County we set it up, and I think it still works like this, is that, we get applicants, identify applicants, we work with them on the application. We, in the case of like who holds the easements, we've been working now, well, the intention is to work with it's the New York Agriculture Land Trust. And so they would hold the easement, so the town doesn't have to do all the monitoring, keeps your cost low, so to speak. So where was I headed with that? But anyhow, there's the county has, when people say we get 3 or 4 applications and we feel like, well, we can, from Tompkins County, maybe support 3 or 4. So we have criteria that we use for ranking the applications. It's not like we often have gone ahead and submitted everything. It's just we kind of give the state a little bit of, help and say, these are the priority applications that we would. And so. I mean, we haven't had any applications for quite a while, and
Okay,
so, but I think we're getting into kind of the economic situation where it might be attractive.
yeah. And then, does the town of Ithaca have a fund for this?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what I
And
thought.
Dryden funded
They have
their
one too?
Shermans when they put
Okay,
their land in under easement, the town of Dryden gave them the difference.
Mhm.
Did, So are there workshops like through the extension service for people to find out about
That's a-
how this
Yeah, we-
meshes together, the federal and the state, and
Yeah.
how that could work with
We
that?
have in the
There.
past, and again, that's Crystal Buck who worked
Yeah.
with us on the plan. She's taken over that role that both Debbie Teeter and I used to play in holding workshops and stuff, but yeah, I think it's time to rev that up again, especially because we now have the New York Ag Land Trust has been around a while, but they haven't been all that active. And so I think now that they're kind of gearing up, it's an opportunity to, and, I think there are a couple of farms that in this town, as I've been talking to people that are interested in
Cool.
PDR.
And the ag committee knows about this and is kind of on it, right?
Yeah, well, Crystal, I told Crystal, and so she's kind of being the direct,
Great.
I think she's working.
Erica, her and Erica are having some conversations.
Okay, yeah, great.
About, like, I think there's a land training, like a land
Yeah, they're gonna do-
transfer
Yeah.
training that's gonna happen, and I think that's included
That's
in
gonna
that.
be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there, that's part of the point is you gotta let people know about these opportunities and then it's voluntary, so.
Yeah.
It's still up to a farmer if they wanna participate or not. Yes.
For what it's worth, on map 1, 2, 3, and 5, Caroline Center is incorrectly located.
Oh, I thought I saw that. Yeah.
On the zoning map, what?
Maps 1, 2, 3, and 5. Caroline Center is
I was looking, going, that looks funny.
2, 3, and 5.
located,
In here, and this.
Yeah.
It's incorrectly located. No.
it says Caroline Center is Caroline.
Right there. Yeah, that's just Caroline. Caroline Center is in a different place.
Caroline Center,
Yep.
Level Green Road, not
So that's Caroline and then there's
Caroline
Caroline
Center.
Center.
What read this?
What page is it?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's his-
somehow they got transferred on all the maps
Yeah.
incorrectly.
Yeah, and. again,
Somebody got confused and didn't match them out.
This is from the,
I've seen that before, so that's propagating.
I know Caroline
Yeah.
Center.
That's too bad.
so these are maps from the county, so the county doesn't know where Caroline is.
A similar thing, we have a new code officer and
They're a
I.
GIS person. Now that, I'm not sure how easy it is for us to change that, because Sharon Keller, who was the county
32.
GIS person, retired.
Oh, she did?
So I don't know who's taken over for her, so I'm not sure we can substitute.
And again,
the
yeah,
maps.
the same.
I didn't
But
know that.
I think we can, and I think
We just have to,
can,
like,
we have some
cross out
ability to
center.
I
manipulate.
mean, they have to have somebody in that position,
Because
right?
it says.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
she's
that's
white
exactly.
out.
Yeah, exactly. It's the black
Yeah,
house.
the person.
Yeah, I meant the new
Assessment.
certificate.
Did you?
Yeah.
All right, well,
We
thanks
did.
for pointing that out. Oh, you know, you.
Sometimes when you wait, good things happen.
Yes.
On the naming thing, I ducked my head with today, like. Trying to figure out where old 76 Road and 76 Road are. I said-
So if I can leave those, so if people, want to see a hard copy, you can at the town office. and-
Sure.
And
great.
yeah, if there are more comments over the next, however, till the public
Okay.
meeting. I'll try to. Yes.
There's the
I'll
comment,
go through the maps and scratch all.
Yeah, just color.
I'll
outside.
try to get
GIS.
some of these that you've already commented on. I'll try to talk to George and see what we can do to fix some of this stuff.
Great.
Um, Try to get that done ahead of your next meeting, but if not, you can be assured that we'll keep working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
You've done so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
And she's done a lot. She works for about $1 an hour.
So it's all right. It's, it's gonna be done by the end of the year.
Great.
So
Great.
we'll get it completely done.
Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, just keep me posted on whatever budgeting things we need to
Yeah,
do to wrap
I'm
this
gonna
up.
work on that maybe this week or by Monday, and
Oh.
maybe there's a time we can meet next week.
Okay. That'd be good. I'm usually around, except I won't be around a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, all right. I wonder if, does anybody
doing
have
out
any
there? Looks like a
comments
busy
about
plan.
the fact that we didn't put any
No.
legends on the images? Is that an
What?
issue? Like, we didn't put any
Legends.
location or anything on the images?
Oh, on the photos.
I don't think it's necessary.
I didn't really notice. Actually, I was like, oh, I wonder where that is. Oh, I think I do.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
kinda
I
fun.
could, but then I don't know.
I'd be okay with, yeah, you're, I think you're okay.
Just leave it as it is then.
Great. All right, shall we,
Let you continue with your reading.
so, yeah, I guess, I was gonna keep the public hearing, I think I'm gonna close it now, and then people send comments,
Oh, yeah.
that'll be fine,
It'll
so.
be out there.
The public hearing is now closed, and I think we combined the board discussion of the ag plan into the public hearing, so we can
Yeah.
scratch that
Yeah.
Disney line off.
Good, yeah, all right.
Great,
Yeah, and if you do have something, you have my email, mr55
oh, yeah,
at Cornell.
Sorry, MR55?
Yeah.
Okay.
uh,
All right,
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody has anything else, just email me.
okay. You're not staying for old time's sake, Cal? So you're not staying for old time's sake?
No.
No.
he would if there were.
Well,
And he would if there were chocolates, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
next time, I've got a basement wall to go paint.
Okay.
Wow,
Exciting.
Yeah.
you're energetic.
Bye.
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 Good to see you all.
Thanks for coming, great to see you, Cal, great to see you, Monica. All right, so, well, we almost have an ag plan. So, now open the town board meeting and,
Oh, are there any more of those on the table?
Yeah, right
oh,
there.
yeah, there's a stack of them over here.
No, no,
You mean the
the-
agenda?
I mean, the agenda.
Or, I know, yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've taken, that's the first item of, the reports. So I will just, give my report now. You all know that Bob Ree has joined us this week, and he was in the office both yesterday and today, full time. He's in on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And Brian will be working with him over the next month or so to transfer information and stuff. The newsletter is now printed and we'll be mailing it out tomorrow or the next day. We still are working steadily, meeting weekly with Connect All on the broadband thing. It's really impressive, the Dryden team, what they do. And we've got permits for Caroline. A lot of them submitted, and you probably noticed in today's bill, we paid about $82,000 for various permits, so that's a lot in my mind. We did meet with the bond team with Jeff Smith at Municipal Solutions and Douglas Goodfriend, the bond counsel, and also Guy Crow, our attorney. And today we had an email conversation to this was probably my learning curve. The state folks told us that they had determined it was a type 2 action, which means it's an action that doesn't require environmental review. And so I thought we could just bank on that, but that was a quote uncoordinated review. We need to do our own review. So that became very clear in the conversation today, which Tim and Kate were looped in on. And I'm sure by the next meeting, I'll have a resolution to take lead agency and classify the project and identify interested agencies and get the process going. I don't think it will be laborious. Dryden's already done this with Hunt Engineers Hunt Engineers actually did the seeker review for them, and they know the technology, so I think we can piggyback on that basically and quickly dispatch with the seeker review.
That would make sense, as they know the whole project. And
Yeah.
where everything is,
Yeah.
and what's going on, so.
But we do need to take, as Nan has told us before, when we do these seeker reviews, you need to take a hard look. You need to show that you've really
Mhm.
looked at it, so. But we gotta do that before we pass a bond resolution, so. More to come very soon. Because I'm assured by someone who knows that the expenses are gonna start amplifying, so.
And just to be clear, right? The bond is for, like, basically the money is gonna go out and then it's gonna get replenished, right, from. I
That's
just wanna
right.
make sure everybody understands that
Yeah,
it's
that's a
not,
good point.
we're not just taking out the bond, it's kind of a. We need the cash on hand and then it'll get reimbursed through the state, so.
Right.
Okay,
Right, the bond monies will be replenished by the Connect All grant.
And when you said something about expenses going up, that was just
It's just that the project
in
is
general,
rolling
not in
fast.
terms of like actual costs are going up.
No.
Like of
No.
cables or
It just means.
labor or.
What it
Stuff,
means-
stuff is happening.
Yeah, okay.
What it means is we have a December 31st, 2026 deadline. So, I mean, basically, they're squeezing every minute of the day to get stuff done. So,
so yeah, every week we meet and they're like, have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this? I mean,
and then.
it's very exact and
Yeah.
working with the state really closely. So, and again, that the 80,000 is from the funds that from our ARPA funds that we said we wanted to go towards broadband, so it's not a new, allocation of funds to the project.
Hey, Mark, the one question you were gonna ask is in relationship to the bond, they were mentioning income relation as opposed to just reimbursement. Remember, we were talking about that. Did they clarify that?
Can you ask the question again?
I forget the terminology, but the original bond discussion, the bond was gonna be set up to take into consideration generated income. Whereas we thought the bond was simply to reimburse
Mm-hmm.
the state grant.
Yeah, that's called a revenue anticipation.
Yeah, that's right. So did they clarify that?
No, I sent Jeff kind of I didn't get a reply on that.
Okay,
So I'm gonna, either tomorrow or the next day, if I don't hear back, I'm gonna call him and understand it better. So that's a good point. So I'm gonna write that down. It's RAN, revenue anticipation note, so. Great. Any other questions or comments about that? I have that also like as our next discussion item, but really the bond resolution was drafted by for our consideration by the bond council. So we can, if you do have questions, ask. I didn't have many really. And now it's just, we got to do seeker first before we do anything, so. Great. Getting into the world of high finance.
I read actually related to this, because we've been worried that with the change of federal administrations, our grant monies could disappear. And what's interesting is the Secretary of Commerce, apparently they're working 24/7 to push out all the money they can out the door.
Is that right?
Yeah,
From
especially
Treasury?
for the CHIPS Act and for infrastructure. So,
Interesting.
Yeah,
So that states then would hold on to it
Yeah.
rather than the federal
Right.
government.
yeah, and I think the state
So
has the
interesting.
money. I mean, we could ask, like, does the state, I thought the money had been given to the
well,
state.
that's always been my high alert concern.
Right,
I'm really paranoid about it.
Yeah,
okay. Well, maybe we could,
we were discussing this today, but
Yeah.
like, when I'm listening to Connectall and they keep mentioning they need this for treasury, that raises the
Right.
question in my mind.
Right.
So.
well, I think that that's a question we need to ask on Tuesday on our next meeting, or
Yeah,
maybe in private behind the scenes.
maybe in private,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we can ask.
Yeah, that's just a dot that we want up,
Just a procedural
an I
thing.
that we want dotted big time.
We are going to, we already have an agreement signed for this grant, and we're gonna have the grant disbursement agreement and the intermunicipal agreement signed definitely within a month, if not sooner, so. I would feel good about that, but I would like it even more if Treasury just sent all the money out to Albany and would be sitting there. That would be great.
Right, and yeah, because I was thinking it had been already sent out to the state and we were just reporting on that it was used properly.
Yeah, I kind
But
of,
yeah, it'd be nice to know.
okay, good questions. I did receive yesterday and forwarded to you late today, the Labella proposal for the next stage of the process. So I think we need to reflect on that, and in light of our other ongoing projects, and I need to understand fully. I think I honestly think we're gonna have to stage it, but,
I mean, the date that they had on there was starting, I think they said 2027.
oh,
I think that's what it said. I think they're anticipating the need to have the bond first.
to do that
But
right away,
look at that, that's what I noticed
Okay.
today,
okay.
so it made me feel a little bit better.
Okay.
But I think you're right, I mean, we have to layer these things,
Mhm.
but the longer we wait, the more expensive it's gonna be, so,
True. Right now, we have obviously the broadband project, which will be reimbursed, but we will have, what's another question is whether the grant would pay interest costs on the bond. So if that's true, then we're golden, that'd be great. Then we also have the town hall project, that's $375,000 that we're gonna spend on that, so
which has to be done.
it has to be done. Yeah, so it's in progress too, so I didn't report on that, but Susan and I sent the RFP and fully fleshed out to the administrator for review, and we're waiting for that, so.
And the trails project is further down the road.
The trail project, we will have the easement agreement in December, early December. I'll get an update from the trail group on exactly when and let you know. And when that happens, I will announce it and celebrate it. That will be really great. And Kate will let us know about the trail, I'll call it the trail grant.
Right, the trail grant submitted, so it was due July 17th. And we haven't heard back. Again, that is
That the project depends on the grant.
that,
That's my next comment.
well, no, not really. I mean, the grant was for $200,000 from US Highway. And that would be for planning and the trail and saying what's needed. And from that point, then we would look for funds in a number of places, for funds to build either by section or the whole thing, what's available. So,
It's like a 2026
no.
project.
What, yeah, we would have to get the money, then we'd have to find a planner, and then we'd have to have the plan made, and then, so it's not next year.
Wait, so the grant you're talking about, that's for the planner? For the plan?
That is for the planning of the trail.
Okay,
Yes. Yes,
And that CHIPS money?
No.
Well,
Actually,
so-
Anyway,
it is from the infrastructure, the bipartisan infrastructure
Hmm.
money.
So maybe the perspective-
that also,
Take it out
yeah,
the
that,
door.
right, but that also might get,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I also applied for a multimodal grant from NYSERDA, which we did not get. But I just found that out this Friday, and Michael.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. That's
What was that for?
$10,000.
The multimodal project was to, again, hire someone to make a plan, for different, it could have been lots of different things. It could have been, bike trails, pedestrian ways, e-bikes. I mean, a whole bunch of different ideas to try to get people out of a single vehicle car for trips. And, so, but we did not get it. So,
So I think I'm driving Jesse crazy because I haven't finished my report.
I'm sorry.
So that's okay, because it kind of came up in this, but. I guess just to, but, why don't I finish the report and then
Yes.
we'll move on, because we do have.
A lot to do.
Then there could be committee reports, so,
Okay.
so anyway, read the highway plan and we'll talk about that later. It sounds like Tim's read it a little bit. So, and then yesterday I went to the legislature, Dan Lamb's notice and supported the resolution from TCOG that was put forward by Greg Mezzi to recognize EMS as an essential service. And that was a very positive thing. I think the legislature is very receptive to it. I will say, Bob Lynch did attend the meeting and spoke and was concerned that doing this, and this is a thought I've had too, was concerned that doing that will force small towns into a situation where they would have to stand up a really expensive ambulance service. But I don't think, when I spoke, I said, I mean, the whole intention is to organize emergency services at a higher level than the town. So that the financial support is spread more equitably, and so that the services are provided in an efficient and equitable manner. So I understood his concern, but I think that's based on the way things are structured now, where it's very spotty. When we thought about this, some areas are covered just by a private ambulance service. Other towns like Dryden, Groton, Ulysses have their own ambulance services, but other towns don't. So it's very discombobulated. So anyway, it was fun. Nice to go to the meeting and see everyone. So that's my report. And so I will, obviously Dan is not here tonight. Bob Ray, our code officer, he told me he wouldn't be here tonight, so. And Bob Spencer's not here. Was gonna ask him something, but I forgot. So I just.
Has Bob Spencer
We'll get there.
looked at this the highway plan that we are given?
I just sent it out today.
No, the design plan that we got
Oh, yeah,
before.
yeah, he has.
It would be good if you would talk to us about that.
Mhm. Right. Yeah. We can ask them about it.
Yeah.
Great, okay, so I guess, the updates, people have, did you want to have more, Kate? Or- You were talking about the trail.
Yeah, that's at the trail. Yeah, so, no, I mean, that's just kind of where we are with
Okay.
I don't see it, I mean, just. This has already been said, you can walk from White Church Road to, this, like, name of the road.
Ridgeway.
Ridgeway. That's part of the Finger Lakes Trail system right now, and that's clear. nice little walk. And as soon as we get it, approved by New York State, right? Then it will be legally, walkable, it'll be the town's, right, the easement. Legally, I mean, it won't be developed as a trail.
Yeah, I mean, you can walk it now.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's legal. Nice,
Right.
but we'll be able to make modifications then. Yeah. I am hopeful. I mean, I don't know, so we can talk about it, but I think at some point soon, we might want to form what we've talked about, have a trail committee. That some more supports the project. Maybe there would be a non-town board group or something, but anyway, we should probably
Like
talk,
Friends of the Trail
Yeah.
group.
think about that. So we'll probably talk about that in our group and then go from there. Yeah, I'd like to think about ways, I mean, I want to do it right, but I think the Dryden Rail Trail has been a great example of, they just really put that together and pushed it out and got it done with a lot of town forces that help with that, so. But anyway, I think we should, once we get the easement, then we should start that conversation, so. Cool. Cannabis? Any thoughts about the cannabis law?
Anybody bring me?
What's that?
Well, I don't have a committee report, but I just really quickly, there were 2 grants that I can forward to people. I'd send them to you that I'm looking at. One is for, it's a grant to potentially, work on watershed, support. It's very broad, but one of the things I thought about is if we could integrate the potential grant in any of the things they talked about when they came and visited us. What's her name? Ithaca.
Roxy Johnson.
Roxy.
Yeah.
I sent it to her and said there might be some possibilities here because you have to do, it's a coalition building project. And then the other one was we have that repair down on Banks Road. And that it might be able to include that in the grant to help pay for it. So I'm gonna look at that more, but that one's due in into January.
Oh, okay,
So anyway, so just want to bring that up.
okay,
That I.
Are you gonna
I might,
pursue that?
yeah, I'll talk with
okay,
her about it
that'd be great.
in Ithaca, 'cause they have a grant writer now.
What's that?
She said they have a grant writer now,
Oh,
so they might be able to take the lead on it.
Okay.
oh, that'd be great.
Then the other grant I looked at, the Nature Conservancy has a grant. I'm not remembering the name, it's a resiliency grant, $50,000. And I thought, I'm wondering if it might work to somehow apply for the Salamander project. Cause we still need to help fund that, right? Do we have to cover a certain percentage of the,
Yeah,
I thought the county said they were gonna come up with the matching funds and we wouldn't have to
Mhm.
worry about it. I thought the county said no.
so, but Leanne said their group is going to seek the funds for 100% coverage of the local match.
Right.
So you should connect with her,
Leanne?
Leanne Kanda, who's the
Okay.
IC professor. I can send you her email and
Yeah,
everything, no
yeah.
problem.
So I just sent you that, if you could just forward Leanne's information to me.
Yeah.
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 But what's really cool about it is it's like a connector project where it's literally the whole Appalachian region.
Mhm.
And New York has a special carve out for this resilient grant, this climate resilient stuff. And within New York, they have these other connectors and they made this amazing detailed map of where they think hotspots are for like biodiversity and climate resilience and stuff. And there's a little blob that comes down right around where the salamanders are.
Oh, that's great.
Because they want to encourage people to apply in these particular areas. And that area is in there.
Yeah, I want you to connect with Leanne.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, they might already know about it,
They might,
but
Right.
that'd be great. That's super great, yeah, cool. Okay, thank you.
Cannabis.
Can I give the clerk's report real quick?
Yeah, of course. Sorry, Jesse.
That's okay. Just quickly, the October revenues, I sold 17 hunting licenses. We had 18 dog license renewals, 2 subdivision application review fees, 13 building permits, a marriage license, and a 1-day officiant license. So the total revenues for October were $2,716. And I gave the local share of $2,404 to Mark on November 7th. And I wanted to mention the office will be closed next Wednesday and Thursday for Thanksgiving. And lastly, I just wanted to recognize B. Raponi. B passed away over the weekend. And she was a very well-known member in our community, and I just wanted to recognize her a minute. And Mark and I ran into Jim today when he was getting water, and we were able to talk to him a minute. So she'll be very missed.
Yeah, she was wonderful. So thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, she was awesome.
And that's my report.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thanks.
I never saw that money. I don't know what happened to it. So just have to write another check. Sorry. Great. Thank you so much.
When did you want to talk about the justice?
I'll be fine now.
Oh, you want to
You
know?
want to,
Okay.
kind of your report, right?
Yeah, so I talked to Diane Gare, who has been saying she would like better, she doesn't feel safe when she's working here alone, and she would like to have she originally put in, a request to buy this, ring
Ring camera.
that would allow her to, talk to whoever is there and let them in or not. So like when she's working here, the door would be locked. So so that as we talked about it, her first choice would be to move her office from where it currently is to the conference room. Because it has a window in it, and she could lock the door and she could see who's here. But then it came out that even to do that, she still needs the doorbell camera right away to do that, because there would take time to set things up, run new cables and everything, if we went that
It would
route.
just be a different office, right?
Yes, but she said there would be internet connections. But anyway, I don't think that's a great idea for various reasons to start changing offices.
Right. I don't think it's what we're talking about right now.
Right.
Is kind of how I feel.
Right. So I think we should do something to make her feel more safe. I just looked at Ring cameras, and Amazon also sells a Ring camera for $59.95 that seems to do the same stuff as the $200 one, and I can't really see the difference, but it allows motion detection, it allows you to talk to whoever's out there, has a camera, that you can see, so that would give her the capability of communicating. The problem with having the door locked is that if somebody just knocks on the door or whatever, she doesn't know who's out there, so this would give her the capability to find out who's out there and what they want. And then she could decide if she felt like letting them in.
Well, I don't think we should keep the door locked if we don't have something like that. Cause to me, that's less safe. I mean, that's.
Right, no, she doesn't want to do that. She wants the camera thing, the Ring camera. So I guess I wrote and asked her, like, why not? Why did you choose the one that cost $200? What's wrong with the $59.95 one? And she said there's a lot of them out there. She liked that one because it has a solar powered battery. The $59.95 one has a rechargeable battery, and you just plug it into USB. You just like. So apparently it just like pops on and off the door, and then if if you have to recharge it, you just plug it in with it comes with a USB cable and a little charging thing. So
Whereas
you-
the solar one stays charged all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, you could just do it at night, when you leave and then charge it up and then,
I mean, I could
So
see the
different.
advantage of the solar one in the sense that having a battery is just one more thing that we know who will have to deal with it. And it'd probably be Mark.
Or somebody,
I mean,
yeah.
well, anyway, so I'm just putting it, but, I think we should get some kind of ring camera.
Mhm.
And just,
so was it clarified? The only concern that I've had all along is what happens when she's not there, but my understanding is then we can deactivate the ring camera and keep the door unlocked for town hall meetings and history room, is that right?
yeah, you would just keep the,
So
you just wouldn't lock the door.
Right.
I think it
Yeah.
would still be,
the ring camera doesn't lock or unlock the door.
no,
Right,
Right.
it's just whether you use it or not.
yeah,
So what you just said, the ring camera also has motion detection?
it does have motion detection.
So like, even if someone didn't ring it, it would go ding and say somebody's there.
I guess so,
From
yeah,
motion.
yeah. So,
Is
and
that-
it has a video camera, so you can see what it
Right.
is, so.
And I think it, yeah, so you can see the bubble right above the
Okay.
door, so
So-
yeah.
So I think, all right, so,
I'm not saying that's in lieu of this.
No.
I'm just saying, I just want everybody to know that we do have
yeah,
certain video cameras at the two town halls, and there's a really nice monitor
yeah,
that projects
So there would be a record of
three
who's there.
images. Yeah,
on
I
top
don't,
of the record.
is it the kind that keeps a record?
yeah,
Okay, so I guess my take on that is, like I said, I told her, I thought the two things together would be really safe. I mean, you should feel as safe as you can be, given our culture. Now, if, I didn't realize, I just wasn't putting it all together. If they choose not to hook up that monitor, then I just feel like that's their decision. Like, I don't think,
well, I mean,
so,
yeah, they don't have to use it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, in other words, the doorbell thing will still do what they want. They'll have better security if they hook up the monitor. I guess I feel like that's up to them at this point. If you do want to set up hooking up the monitor, I think you just have to, contact her and make an appointment so that she's expecting it.
so,
That's my report.
okay,
Can I ask some clarifying questions?
yeah,
Yes.
Just to step back a little bit, so I totally 100% behind safety. And her need feels safe, totally get
Yeah.
it. Back in the day, a locked door would have a little peephole.
like that one.
Mhm.
What's the difference?
Hmm.
Why have something that's digital that can get stolen? It sounds like it's removable.
Well, I mean, she wants the outside door locked. Does that one have a peephole?
Oh, it could, it doesn't.
Okay,
That's my question.
okay.
I
Well,
think the reason is so that she doesn't have to get up, right?
So when she's
Oh, she wouldn't get
here,
up anyway.
Yeah.
she opens the top part of the
Mhm.
tour. I mean, I can see. I would think that it would be much more secure for her if she had some buffer rather than going to the door and opening it for somebody. In other words, here she could stay in her office, she could see who's coming.
Mhm.
And if she chose to, she could not let them in, or if they come in for one reason or another, she can close her door.
And she can talk to them.
And she can close the
So,
door.
I mean, in
Yeah.
the old days, you have people, you have a chain on the door, right? You
Yeah.
open them and talk to them and shut it on them if you felt
Yeah.
threatened,
So
so.
the ring has a speaker.
Yes,
I just. Such a small cost overall, not a big deal. I'm just thinking in terms of like. Stolen, replaced. It
Which
just,
did happen with Cal's flag solar
Yeah.
lights out there.
Mhm.
Somebody stole
So, yeah, I didn't.
so,
I didn't look in to see how well that thing is like how hard it is to steal it. Now, if the camera's hooked up, or, then we can see who does it if they do steal it, but. Maybe then they should be, we should insist on it.
Is it have a recorder, the Ring camera have a recorder with it or no?
I think if you want a recorder, I think you have to sign up for a service, like it's a monthly fee.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But we have a recorder,
Well, if they don't install it.
but it's recorded anyway. If they don't use a monitor, it's still.
Oh, I see.
Oh.
I see, I got it,
Can
okay.
you guys see what's going on with this monitor from the,
They're all on the same screen.
great,
All the cameras are on the same screen.
So-
You see everything that's going on.
great.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
It's great.
So I would say get the Ring camera, install it so that, you know, she can keep the door locked. I get the thing about wanting your door locked.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
I just thought we needed to figure out the best way to do
Yeah.
it, so.
And that doesn't, like you mentioned, Tim, it doesn't mess with other uses if it's locked.
if it's, I talked to her about that a little bit, like, first of all, like the history rooms usually open at different times than she's here. But then I brought up the thing about some people have keys, I think, because they're coming in to do it, they're working on the inventory. And I don't know when they are, but I know they're not doing it on Thursdays.
The historians have keys to go.
Yeah, so they could still always get in, like this won't prevent them from getting in. Now, I don't know if the historians want somehow to know who's coming into the building, they've never said that they do, because sometimes people do just wander up there. I think they like it, actually.
They open the door wide and
Yeah.
leave it open.
And she said she doesn't care, like, if they're here, it's like when she's here alone, she feels particularly vulnerable.
Alright,
That's fine. That makes
and it
sense.
can only always be revisited.
Yes,
It's not like this is permanent if
Right.
things
right,
get better or whatever, so.
yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, right.
So I guess then would you just tell Velvet she can order that? or-
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
so
That sounds good.
How are we gonna do the solar one?
yeah,
Yeah,
Great. Okay, thank you for doing that.
okay, so
Yeah.
And who installs it?
I don't know.
I don't know. Are they, is there any?
Well, the cheap one, I said it's really easy, you just pop it on, but I don't know about the more expensive one. I didn't look at it that closely.
I mean, I don't know anything about them, but how does
I
it
don't either.
communicate from there to there?
That's my question. There's
No,
not,
the
there's
cheap-
not a cord, right?
No, the
It's-
cheap one, you actually do it on your
Bluetooth or
phone.
something?
Yeah, the cheap one, you do it on your phone.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look at the more expensive one more that carefully, but
I think
it
it's probably on your phone
it gives
too.
you, a phone alert. And you can-
Yeah, it's all by app. It's an app on your phone that dings when somebody's there, and then you can talk through it that way.
Okay.
Thanks, Jesse.
So. Yeah, I think at this point especially the time it's been involved, might as well just do it but I would really encourage getting that monitor hooked up, but
So how do we go about just getting it done? Do we need to?
you have to make an appointment with her, I think, for when she's
Just
gonna be here.
order you're talking about the Ring camera?
Oh, the Ring camera or the monitor?
The Ring camera,
Oh.
and just get this done and,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Velvet will order it.
She'll order it.
all right.
But I think this does, yeah, so I appreciate
Thank
all
you.
this.
Yes, thank you.
I do think for, capital purchases like this, that does need to be well considered, and we don't want to be just slapping stuff up one after another and spending taxpayer money like it
Well,
doesn't matter.
Like I mentioned, there is a possibility it might get stolen,
Yeah.
might get damaged, and so it's now another piece of equipment that has to be replaced.
Right,
So have to consider that.
yeah.
Could be replaced if it.
These kinds, I mean, I've probably had 10 of these things in my lifetime,
Right.
so.
I guess the other thing is, and I'm not sure how to do this exactly, but I think we should encourage that these kinds of things should come from the justices.
Oh, totally
So-
agree.
Um,
I totally agree, so. I agree.
Isn't that in the state's justice procedure that I think that there was language that we were given that says that the judges are responsible for that, I believe.
So they hire their clerks.
Yeah,
So who are are the justices her supervisors?
Yeah.
Or are you,
the justices are.
okay, Okay, so I can send her an email and say that we've agreed that Velvet will order it and you'll let Velvet know.
Yep.
Okay.
I will let Velvet know first thing in the morning.
Okay. As far as installation, I don't know, maybe is that something you want the justices to arrange or?
I think we're the town hall stewards,
Okay,
so I think we should install it.
okay,
But it will require, I guess it's gonna be an app on Diane's phone.
yeah.
I'm assuming that the installation's gonna be fairly simple, probably mounting it somehow up there. So,
So you could do it though, whether she's here or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Although for the app, she needs to be involved.
She needs.
yeah, once it's activated, but probably
As
do
far as
that later.
activating it. I mean, as far as just physically mounting it.
Okay, yeah, we'll take it one step at a time, but
Okay.
yeah, I think the town should install it, so,
Okay.
great, okay.
Alright.
I guess maybe I'll send justices a note in the morning,
Okay.
update on all this, so.
Okay.
That would be that we are ordering the Ring camera.
Yeah.
That, we would like these kinds of decisions and deliberations to come from the justices.
Yeah.
And
He's got the
that-
request to come from the justices.
at the request of the justices, yeah, and, that we will, be happy to, hook up, a monitor for the town hall video cameras, upon request.
For additional security.
Well, yeah, I think, and to this point, as I, so, yeah, I don't know what the purpose was, but the justices did order at least 3 video monitors. They're in the small conference room and mounts for those, so in addition to what we have over there, which we had older ones, they're-
The other thing I mentioned to her, and this is kind of off topic, so, but I know, Justice Barr has made reference that she wants to apply for a grant for, security upgrades. And I guess I just have to say for myself, I'm not gonna feel comfortable voting on anything like that unless I see what those specific upgrades are. And I don't need to see like the completed grant, but I would just like to see a bullet list of what they're applying.
I think even
Or-
more than that, just a description of what
Yes.
is proposed.
And so
We
if
could-
we could somehow convey that to them, they have to be specific and not just, vague.
Do you want me to add that to my email?
It's,
We have requested that in the past.
okay, so,
Okay,
Ad nauseam.
that's true, yeah, so.
okay, so you don't have to, but I guess I just want to say for myself, if anybody looks at this recording, I can't consider anything unless I see specific.
Yeah.
With the specific.
Well, in that particular case, for shared space, the supervisor must sign off on the grant, and
Right,
all we've requested in the recent past
right,
is to have a meeting with the justices and the supervisor
Mhm.
to figure out the needs so that there can be a common understanding of what the grant is.
yes, I
Then
mean, yes,
there's, then we would be, I'm pretty confident the board would happily support that.
Yeah, I've noticed in an email, you might be a liaison,
Okay.
really, or experimenting as a liaison. To me, that seems like a perfect conversation to have with them, and
Mhm.
not that you're telling them that what they need, but like,
No.
what is it that you need?
Yeah.
And then you can relay it to us in a committee report
That's a good.
as a start,
Yeah.
to
So
take
I
some
guess-
of what's the word, that they have to do it, right? That we're kind of, it's like an olive branch, like.
Well, so I mentioned that to her, and so I was thinking maybe, at the beginning of the year, I could send them an email saying if you're considering writing a grant for security upgrades, we would like to know what they are. Let's start the process now before you start the grant.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Would you like to be appointed now or tonight by resolution or wait for the organizational resolution?
I,
in January?
I don't care. Oh, we can wait till January. That's
Okay, we'll do it then.
Yeah.
The rest of them. So, okay, cool.
I have something to look
Thank you.
forward to. Okay.
Thank you. And I didn't mean to interrupt if you have more report.
No,
Okay.
no, that's it. That's fine.
Great.
I don't have any- I mean, the planning board hasn't met and.
Yeah.
then
But we do have a planning board related thing
Yeah.
with the agrivoltaics, so,
I did make a note of that. So I think the planning board's going to meet December 9th.
okay,
I thought I would try to remember to bring that up.
that'd be great.
So
That'd
It
be
might
great.
already be in there even, I just can't remember.
I can't remember either. So-
What, Mike?
It might already be in the law. There might be. a reference
I
to
don't
in
think
the
it
law.
is.
You don't-
No, I don't, well.
Maybe I'm getting the zoning law confused with.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's their next meeting is December 9th.
Great.
So I'll try to bring this up.
But this company that's doing the solar field, they're like ready to do that. So it's good.
The one out on 7th.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's terrific.
So when someone mentioned our meeting though, it's like they could turn around and just sell the contract to someone else
Of course they
that
can.
wouldn't give to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
cares
The
about
contract would change or,
a new owner.
Oh, okay.
They could turn around and sell it.
oh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Oh, okay.
thank you. That's very good. All right, I'm gonna skip down to the cannabis opt-out local law. Are we prepared to ask Guy for an opt-in law
Yes.
without any further conversation? Just with the cannabis regulations in place? The only thing that I thought about, which I'm not sure is a big concern, is like, but I think we could do it later, if we felt the need. If the town needed to establish revised zoning for hours of operation, something like that. But
So for the dispensary and the lounge.
Well, when it came up to us originally, those were separate items.
Right, yeah,
So we'd want to keep them separate.
they are still separate.
Yeah,
they're
But
separate.
what I'm talking about is, okay,
maybe we want to consider the dispensary and not the lounge first. Or are
oh,
we doing both?
I was just thinking of opting in on both and being done with it.
Why do you,
What's the
yeah,
concern?
what are you bringing up?
Just because the state had divided them into two different uses and I guess we'd have to look at the zoning law to make sure that,
Right,
They're both in
Where?
there.
they're both in there.
In the use
We haven't put a
I
discussion
can remember that.
about them,
okay,
so.
Yeah, I think they're definitely permitted in the ag rural.
Yeah.
They may, I can't remember, might get us to.
Are most dispensaries also lounges
no,
No.
No.
they're separate businesses.
but in the same space, two separate business,
No, I
two
think
different
they're
spaces?
different spaces. That's my understanding.
Two different things.
Yeah, two different things.
Yeah.
And you have to keep them separated?
I don't know the answer to that.
Cause like, you go to a bar, you drink, you buy some alcohol and you drink it at the bar,
Yeah, so you go to,
like,
you can go up to East Hill to Judd Falls Liquor and you just buy the liquor, right? You don't sit there and drink it.
true,
I think a dispensary is considered to be the equivalent of a liquor store.
I see. It's not like a bar.
That would be
Right.
lounge.
That would be allowed.
Oh, a lounge sells it and you hang out there. Oh, so it's like, that's like the bar and just, I
Exactly.
get, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Place of consumption,
Got
yeah.
it. I don't go to these things, so I don't know.
They probably have the Bills game on the wall and stuff.
Yeah, right.
So.
Wow, what a play.
They're flying.
Look at John Allen now.
Okay,
Okay.
So we're gonna vote on something? No, or we're just
No,
talking about it?
We're not ready to vote on anything.
Okay.
It would be, pretty sure we'll have to pass another law to undo a law.
Okay.
So I was just asking whether we're ready for me to ask Guy to give us that. It's probably like a one pager.
yep,
I guess it would make
Okay,
sense.
so I will do that. Great. So the remaining resolutions are fairly procedural. So I'm gonna just talk through them. So the first one sets employee wage increases for 2025 at 2.5%. It sets the employee health insurance terms as they were this year. 16% for Class A employees, which is 30 hours or more a week. They qualify for the Gold Plan, or they're responsible for 16% of the premium. And then there's the HRA, HSA provision. We're trying to transition people, we hope to the HSA, but if this applies now to Bob Spencer. He has the HRA and wishes to keep that. But has revision for switching to an HSA. New eligible employees taking health insurance are eligible for an HSA funded at 100% out of pocket max in the first 12 months and then 50% annually thereafter. Class B employees enrolling in the town's health insurance shall be responsible for 50% of the premium without a town contribution to an HSA. I will say that is a fairly generous provision because it's offering both family and individual for those individuals. Class C employees may enroll at their own expense. I just wanted to talk through that so everybody kind of got a refresher on what we do offer.
Class A is full-time, Class B is
20 to 30 hours.
20 to 30 hours.
I added in the credit card use policy that we established in 2019 at the recommendation of the OSC auditors. And it's like the fifth bullet point down, purchases of capital assets shall be pre-approved by the town board, which is what we just did tonight.
Okay.
Pretty obvious. The other thing is not supposed to use it for personal purposes. Hardly needs to be written in there.
Sorry,
And
Mark, are you just running through these or are you gonna call for second on these? Are you making the motion on these and gonna vote as you go or?
Yeah, what I was gonna do, Jesse, to simplify things, I was gonna read through them and then offer them in one vote as a consent agenda.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Is that okay?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, great. Does anybody have, I'll just ask if anybody has any questions about the credit card use policy.
How many employees have? I mean,
I have one, Bob has one, and Jesse has one.
okay.
And so there's always already a resolution passed. It's just not in the handbook yet?
Right.
Is that what this
Right.
is saying?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's some updates being made, I guess.
Yeah, and I crossed out resolution and put policy because that was the right word there, but otherwise it's the same as what we passed in 2019.
So this just further codifies it.
It just codifies it and, it should be in the employee handbook.
Right.
And we have been trying to put it in the organizational resolutions, except I think I forgot last year, so it's nice if it's just in the handbook.
Yeah.
I'll put it in there on the cover. Whenever I add anything, I put the date and the relevant resolution so that people can track it. So. The next resolution authorized me to sign the 2025 fire protection contracts for the two companies that support our Caroline Fire Protection District, Stevesville and Brickendale. The next resolution authorizes me to sign the cooperative agreements for purchasing of workers' comp. So we do that, and then Slaterville and Brickendale, they basically buy their workers' comp insurance from that cooperative purchase. They pay us for that.
So the resolution for the Caroline Fire Protection contracts, you've got Speedsville and Brickendale, but not Slaterville?
Yeah, so there are 3 fire districts. This is confusing. So there are 3 fire districts in Caroline.
Mm-hmm.
There's Slaterville Fire District and Brickendale Fire District. They're just like towns. They're separate taxing entities. We do not, the I don't budget for them.
Okay.
They have their own meetings.
Okay.
They pass their own budgets. They have a public hearing that no one attends. And
Okay.
they pass a budget and it shows up on your tax bill if you're in those districts. Then the remaining area of the town, and I don't know if Don did this, but somebody back in the day did it, was not covered. So that's the Caroline Fire Protection District.
Okay.
And that is served by contract by the Speedsville Fire Company and the Brookendale Fire District.
Oh.
So that's why we have a contract with each of those entities
Okay. It's a
to
little,
serve the Caroline Fire Protection District. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
it does. It does. Seems a little patchwork, but it makes sense.
And it's a nice patchwork because it's very comprehensive now, but it's very confusing, so. Do you have a question, Tim?
No, I was just gonna make a side note that I read in a regional newspaper, actually the Cortland newspaper, that Dryden apparently withdrew their reciprocal relationship with the Brookendale Fire Department and has shifted it to the at the edge of campus, not McLean, but what's
Varna.
Varna, to Varna.
That's interesting.
I don't know what that means financially, if it means anything
Is
financially.
Varna in Dryden or is it in Ithaca?
It's in
Dryden.
Dryden.
It's in Dryden.
Apparently Varna has bunkers, so they have faster response times, which is why they said they did it.
They're closer.
I thought it was interesting.
Huh.
Yeah,
It's interesting to know.
I'm not up on that. I think there was a justification for it, but yeah.
Okay.
The next one, I did send you late, Guy's contract for 2025. And I did explain in the email about that. It's a 9% increase. The last increase was in 2021. I think it's very reasonable. If there's no disagreement, the way consent agenda works is if there's any one resolution that someone has a problem with, we pull it out. So just let me know if there is, but I think I'm comfortable with that. I think that's good. And then the next resolution 7, I'm going to modify a little bit because I didn't look at my ledger before I wrote it. So unresolved. The budget transfer will be 25,000 from A1620.43. That's what's in there remaining to A231 Town Hall reserved. So with that, I am, let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I think, or let's see. Actually, maybe I'll add on. I put it in my supervisor's report. So I have the resolution, the transfer resolution, which has, I don't know, about 15 transfers. Those are just to zero out account lines. I'll just let people read those and let me know if you see any issues. The next one is the budget adjustment resolution. And that one is just to make the budget adjustments to accommodate the Brookendale camp, summer camp payroll. So that's on the back of that at the top. We got cut off a little bit. So the 37,833.79 increase 7140.1 increase 3820 youth programs, and then the 2568 is the Social Security for those payroll payments. So the way this works is Brookendale, Nancy Hall wrote us a check for the combined amount of those two amounts. So we did, this is just the pass through. So that's that budget adjustment. And then the next one is the use of unreserved fund balance from the fire protection fund to zero out the workers' comp line. I under budgeted this year because it was over budgeted in previous years. So I'm just making an adjustment and keeping the fund balance reasonable. And then why not? I'll add on the last one. So then the bill payment resolution is A fund, 144,250.82, DA fund, 96,326.93, SL fund, 1,619.56. So with that, if everyone's good with those, I'll offer those as a consent agenda. John?
Question, just for my own learning. Under the transfer resolution.
Yeah.
The $5,065.96 conservation streams.
Yeah.
Just, I'm trying to understand, you're going from there to there.
They're not related. I agree.
Yeah,
Usually you try to make them kind of related for that one. So I don't know why. I get the retirement numbers. I think we may be off staggered a year. But the retirement payments, oh, I think I know what it is. So we prepaid the retirement, so I do think we're off a year. Anyway, I had to make up money.
so you're essentially what you're trying to do, you're just trying to pay a cost. In this case, 89010.8 is retirement
Yep.
cost. And you're making that up with A8710
Exactly.
point. But then what if conservation streams needs $5,065.96?
Yeah, that would be a problem, but I know that it won't.
And what is conservation streams?
That was money budgeted for the Banks Road thing. But it didn't happen this year, so we have the money.
For 2024,
For 24,
got it.
Yeah.
We probably will need it next year.
we will, and we have it for next
We
year.
budgeted for that.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Yeah.
trying to get my brain around
No?
how the
totally
money
makes sense.
moves and
It's a lot.
where it goes and
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, thanks, that's it.
No, that's a really good question, and that one does stand out because. Like I said, I try to keep like things, I try to switch just between really like things. Between contractual accounts, maybe between town board, clerk and supervisor.
I totally get it.
Yeah, so good, thank you. So the other thing I'll mention is, and Kate brought this up, so we've been having a fire alarm issue here.
We need to pass this
Yeah,
since
we-
we've done all of these. Why don't we do this?
After I make this comment,
Oh,
because
okay.
it's related to
Oh,
this comment. But my only comment is, like, the bill from Pleasant Valley, so contained two things. One, it was our annual monitoring and testing fee for Pleasant Valley. That was approximately $1,000. But then there's approximately another $1,000 for recent work to fix the problem here. And they haven't fixed it yet. They have to come out again. And I just wonder if I should hold off on that payment and try to see what the contract says, and I don't know. It's probably money we need to spend to get it fixed, but probably what's happened is a rodent's chewed a connection somewhere, or it's rusted out a little bit, but they've been out twice and spent most of a morning each time. And we need to do it again. But anyway, I just wanted to see.
Cause that money's in here somewhere.
Yeah, it's in the bills, it's in the A fund, so
I see.
it's in there, and I thought, well, maybe I should pull it out until we figure out what's
Yeah,
going on.
I was
Maybe it's-
surprised that we would have to pay for them to come out and fix it if we're already paying a fee for maintenance and upkeep for it.
But that's not,
But it might be separate.
So the wording is important, so the fee is for monitoring, which means
Okay.
when an alarm goes off, it goes to them. And you call them, and they're there 24/7, there's somebody there, that's the
Okay.
monitoring that we're
Okay,
paying for.
so that's different
And
than
the, yeah, and
installation
the
maintenance.
testing is coming out and actually testing the equipment. So it's not,
Okay.
it's not like a Halco service contract or something like that, so
And so if it is a rodent, it's our fault.
I guess. I think we should pay it and I'll follow up with them,
But the monitoring is monitoring, that has nothing to do with upkeep.
right,
Right, okay,
That's-
so yeah, that's
Like
what, I didn't understand that, yeah.
yeah. Well,
paying the police department to answer the calls. I mean, that's basically what this.
But you're saying there is a chunk of money on here that we paid for them to come and look and they didn't fix it.
Right.
right,
So if they came out again and didn't fix it, we don't wanna pay that one.
yeah,
So I can see there's an argument for saying you will pay them once it's fixed. Right? I mean, they're sending you a bill before it's fixed.
well, they're sending me a bill for work done,
Oh,
But they didn't fix it.
yeah,
so it's gonna be more money because they have to spend more time.
But they're sending the bill for hourly
I see.
wages.
All right, so they're sending you a bill for their time.
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess. you can pay
So
it.
you can't really.
I think I think we should pay it,
Yeah,
and then I'm gonna call her up and talk about it
yeah.
and discuss it with her.
Yeah.
And say, this is our concern, so, okay, thank you. So with that, I will ask for a second for this consent agenda resolution for these resolutions. Second by Michelle. Does anybody want to go through them again? All done? All in favor? Aye, opposed, great, thank you. Thanks, Jesse. And let's see,
Are you gonna approve the minutes of November 6th?
yep. Yep, so I will ask if anybody has comments on the minutes. The one thing I did notice, Jesse, that you brought up with me is I looked at the version online, I noticed that some of the resolutions don't have firsts and seconds and votes on them.
Yeah, so I amended Velvet's copy and I sent those changes to Mike. I just don't think they'd been posted yet.
Thank you, that's
But
great.
yeah, I did make those edits. I caught that, so.
Perfect, thank you.
You're a good team. You all are a good team. Velva and Jesse.
Yeah, so thank you. I think with that, I'm ready for approval. If there are no comments, I'll approve.
Yeah.
So the minutes of what was it, November 6th are hereby approved. And I think that's, do we have anything else to discuss?
Do we need to vote on this? How does that, this is just a public hearing, we're not voting
So
yet.
we just had a public hearing, we could vote on it. I think what we should do is wait to vote until our next meeting, which is December 4th. And
With those corrections that we
with
talked about.
those corrections.
I'm hoping they'll make the correction.
Ask for those. And I don't know if people are, I'm kind of thinking of just writing my comments out quickly and sending them so that she can pass them on to George or whoever is
Yeah.
stewarding the revisions to help out. But that's what I would like to do.
No, I think that's what we should, I mean, I sent them about the one page, but I missed the other, so I think we should just tell them
Okay.
what we think needs to be fixed. She replied to me that, oh, maybe it'll be too expensive to make the changes, so we could put it in the appendix. I don't like that idea.
I think she was saying that she talked to Jen and they can
Oh, she did.
tweak it. I thought that's what she was
Yeah.
saying.
I've heard a couple of different things, and one is as long as they're small enough and not gonna add a couple pages,
Yeah.
then it's fine.
It should work.
Yeah.
Basically, all of this is just tweaking.
Tweaking, and those are okay.
Yeah.
We just don't wanna add like 10 more paragraphs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Great, so that's the plan.
Okay.
Good question. With that, I will offer a resolution to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Kate, and all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Great. Thanks, everybody.
Good night, Jesse.
No,
Good night, Jesse.
Bye.
Good night, thank you.